Have you ever been so sure about what you're getting into, only to discover that a tiny mistranslation has thrown everything off? Like you're all set for a fun, cultural, family day, and suddenly nothing is what you expected. Today, I want to share a story about how a small mistranslation turned our plans for a perfect family day upside down. Plus, I'll give you 3 tips for how you can avoid translation mishaps so you don't embarrass yourself. 朋友们，你们好. My name's Matthew. I used to work for Fluent Forever, where I was mentored by the American polyglot and best-selling author Gabriel Weiner. Nowadays, I share my own tools and techniques to help you learn a language effectively by yourself. So, our family was supposed to spend some quality time together making some Vietnamese rice paper rolls. A delicious way to connect with the cultures that we love, practice our languages, and most importantly, enjoy a good meal. We were browsing online and found this event called 越南转职动手作. And of course, it had to be a Mandarin Chinese kind of event because, as you all know, I love learning languages. So I might as well do something fun with the wife and the kids while also maintaining my languages. My reading of Mandarin Chinese isn't perfect, so I had Google Translate to help. Then Google Translate told us this event meant Vietnamese paper rolling DIY, which my wife and I assumed meant making rice paper rolls. You know those tasty little bundles of veggies, herbs, and meat wrapped in delicate rice paper? So we packed up the kids all excited for a fun and tasty cultural experience. My wife and kids actually have some Vietnamese heritage as their grandparents were born in Vietnam, and so Vietnamese traditions and food are really a great thing that we want to enrich our kids' lives with. Now, when we arrived, everything seemed a little off. There were tables and chairs, but there were no signs of food. Instead, there were stacks of colorful paper, glue, and scissors. Wait a second, I can't be eating that, can I? I remember my wife leaned over to me and whispered, I think Google Translate got it wrong. At that moment, it hit me. This wasn't a cooking class at all. We were here to do Vietnamese paper quilling, not exactly what we had signed up for. For those of you who don't know, paper quilling is when you roll up bits of material paper in different colors to create art. You don't roll up rice paper that you can eat. Tip 1. Double check translations. Use multiple sources or consult with a native speaker to ensure the accuracy of the translations, especially when planning important activities. We felt so silly. Imagine coming in ready to roll up some tasty treats, but only to find out you're rolling little bits of colored paper instead. The kids looked up at me like, Baba, where's the food? The event started, and so we decided to make the most of it. I thought, okay, maybe we can still have fun and practice our Mandarin and Vietnamese. Why not? And for a while, it was okay. Tip 2. Be prepared for the unexpected. Be adaptable and ready to adjust if things don't go as expected due to translation errors or other misunderstandings. But as the hours dragged on, yes, hours, things started to go downhill. It was 9 a.m. in the morning when we arrived at that event, and we assumed we'd be eating by lunchtime. Hey, we didn't eat breakfast because we thought we'd be making Vietnamese rice paper rolls and then eating them for brunch. But as you know, that didn't happen. But 12 noon, it came and it went. And there we were, still rolling colorful paper and no food in sight. The kids were getting cranky and my wife was giving me that grumpy look. And I was just praying for the event to end. I thought this event said it was from 9 a.m. to 12? I was wrong. We were all hungry, our stomachs grumbling as it approached 12 noon. Then, to top it all off, the teacher decided that it was the perfect time to start singing Vietnamese children's songs and to take group photos in multiple angles and with different poses. I mean, we were all starving, but hey, sure, let's take another picture. Finally, we just couldn't take it anymore. We politely excused ourselves, saying 对不起,对不起 in Mandarin Chinese, as well as cảm ơn in Vietnamese, which means thank you. And we got out of there as fast as we could and drove straight to the nearest convenience store to grab something to eat. Admittedly, not exactly the authentic cultural food experience we had in mind, but at least we weren't hungry anymore. Things did not turn out as planned, but here's what I learned. Literal translations can be dangerous, especially when they can lead to situations like this. Translation tools like Google Translate or other AI tools like ChatGPT can be great to have a general idea, but they can't always capture the cultural nuances or specific meanings of words in another language. Tip 3. Use translation tools wisely. Recognize the limitations of translation tools like Google Translate. Use them as a starting point, but if you're serious about learning another language, don't rely on it as your sole source of understanding. Sometimes it is better to learn a language so that you can speak and understand it directly. When it comes to learning languages, especially when it comes to cultural activities and food, it's essential to understand words in their proper context. Translation tools can help, but they're not foolproof. And I was the biggest fool in my story. Translation tools and AI can lack the real-world experience that only a native speaker or a teacher can bring to the table. In the end, we did not get what we had originally wanted. A nice, relaxing family day out, making some Vietnamese rice paper rolls. But we did get what we needed. A lesson in patience, adaptability, and the importance of double-checking translations. Plus, we did still spend some quality time together, which truly was the whole point. So, next time you're planning a cultural experience, or trying exotic food, or learning a new language, remember our little adventure. Be careful with translations, and always be prepared for the unexpected. And if you have ever had a translation fail of your own, then share your story in the comments. I'd love to hear them and have a bit of a laugh too. And who knows, maybe next time we'll finally get to make those Vietnamese rice paper rolls.